Now, I want to switch gears here a little bit. I want to ask you, okay, so you in here doing your time, your 18 years. At what point did you start thinking like, you know what, I'm done with this, I want to make a change. When did that moment come, and was it something that kind of propelled that moment?
All right, so I met this dude, right? Black dude out of North Carolina, had a life sentence. His name was Cedric Dean. I had met him in the USP League, right? And he had told me, he said, "Hey, man, come to my class, man. Check my class out. It's called Leaders Breed Leaders." He said, because, man, they're going to change the law. When they change the law, what are you going to tell them, man? You got a couple write ups for knives, you stabbed someone, you got caught selling heroin. You got to have some programs. So he kept telling me, come to this program. I'm like, all right. One day I just agreed to it. And I go to this program. This dude's teaching prisoners and staff. The warden had
Mm,
this dude teaching this class to the staff members and the prisoners that he was a prisoner. So that was kind of
mm,
where I was. That was my first wake up call. And then a couple years later, I ended up going to a different prison, and he stayed there. And years later, I was on the bus with him, man. Like 3 years later, he's like, "Hey, man, you remember me, man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, Big Sandy, man, you're the education dude." I remembered him as the education dude. And we ended up
mm.
going to Raybrook, and he's like, "Look, man, this shit's changing, bro. You better get on the right path." And from that point forward, man, I really, man, was like, yeah, I want to get on the right path. And I had an incident before that where I was just kind of like, you know what, man, I'm just tired of this shit, man. I'm tired of the violence. I told you I spent 14 months in the hole. I'm like, man, I'm
Mm.
I'm just tired. And I just happened to run into him on the bus. We were going to the same prison. He's like, man, you got to come to education and get a job down there, man. And that's what I did, man. I changed my life, really changed my life at that point.
Okay. So now, how difficult was that? Because you're changing, but the environment around you isn't changing. So how did you walk them two different worlds?
That's when I went to an FCI. Finally left the United States Penitentiary. Finally
Okay.
left the maximum security prison. So the
Okay.
environment was a little bit different. And that's
All
how I
right.
changed. I went there with an attitude like, I don't really care what other people think about me, man. None of that shit don't matter. What matters is I want to get out of prison. And in order to get out of prison, I got to educate myself. I got to change my character. I got to become a different person. And like I said, man, I was a jailhouse lawyer, man. I helped a lot of people get out of prison, right? One of the best in the
Mm,
system. And I'm not being
mm.
arrogant. I'm just telling you what it is. It's
Okay.
facts.
Okay.
So I started working in the law library, started getting dudes out of jail. I wrote a reentry program while I was there with that brother
Mm,
Cedric Dean. He had a life sentence. He ended up getting out before me, man. This brother got out before me, and he's doing everything
mm,
that he said he would do. So that's when I changed my life. There's something up here, man. Sometimes it clicks when you're 25. Sometimes it clicks when
mm,
you're 28. Sometimes it clicks when you're 21. But it
mm,
clicked, man. I finally said, man, this is not the life that I want to live. I don't want to die in prison. I don't want to die
mm,
in here alone. I don't want to be in here when my mother dies and I can't attend the funeral. So in order to
mm.
make sure that all those things change, I had to change me. And that's what I did,
Wow.
brother.
Okay. And so I'm sure you're familiar with the stats on recidivism. So once you get out, how did you not fall back into that trap of recidivism? Because it's really just a big trap. How did you beat that?
All right, so I've been home, what, 17 months, I think. This is how I
Mm,
beat it, man. I learned to appreciate my freedom while I was in prison. And when you get out
okay.
here, man, like I tell people, the air smells different, man. It
Mm,
feels different. And I appreciated my freedom and made, decisions that I said, I'm never going back to prison. I started a paralegal and prison consultant firm. I got a
mm,
little bit of money together. I started a home improvement company where I hired brothers that are getting out of prison in my area,
okay.
put them to work. I put the YouTube channel together, man.
Mm,
And like I said, I was doing this in prison. I was teaching leaders breed leaders in prison because of Cedric Dean, taught alternative
mm,
violence project seminars. And my goal was to get out and do some teaching with him. He's in North Carolina and go into the schools. But because
mm,
of COVID, we couldn't do that. And
mm,
another dude, gave me. He's like, "Look, man, you want to come on a YouTube channel?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Man, this is a great forum to do what I want to do." And
mm,
do DOC TV 813 out of Florida.
mm. Okay.
So I jumped on his channel, did an interview with him. Man, dude plugged me in. He taught me, he taught me a bunch of stuff, taught me the ropes, and I put that thing together, man. And just being free, man. I reconnected with my wife. I was married to her. We got a divorce. I had 40 years, bro. She had to go on with her life. We reconnected,
Mm.
got married, having twins in December, twin boys. So I'm
Oh,
living my
congrats.
best life, man. And I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Wow, that's powerful. So now let me ask you this. So when you get out after doing 18 years, what was the world like? Because I've heard people say sometimes when they get out, it's so foreign to them that they almost want to go back to prison because it's just what they're used to. Not that they really want to go back, but the world has changed so much that it's kind of scary. What was it like when you first came out?
Well, when I first came out, man, it was shocking. I mean, they had cameras on the poles. I seen like homeless people holding signs. Um,
Mhm.
The phones were, you know, when I went to jail, I had a flip phone, a Sprint flip phone. And, you know, some of the homeboys called me like, yo, what's up with them phones, man? I'm like, man, this ain't a phone. This is a computer with a phone on it. So the
Right.
world was different. I was afraid to cross the street. Like, I was afraid to go like in Walmart or around a lot of people. I'd be nervous. Even to this day, I still sit, you know, with my back. You know, if I go to a restaurant, I want to be against the wall in a booth. I want to be able to see what's going on. You do get a little PTSD, man. I've been through some shit now. I've been hitting the head with a net bag of rocks. I've been stabbed in prison. I've been through some shit, man. So it just it's different, man. You're a little shaky when you come out, but you got to keep pushing. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to be embarrassed. I didn't know how to use a credit card. Like, you know, everybody pays with a card now, right? So I didn't know how to work the machine. Like, I didn't want to put my card in there and fail. And someone behind me like, man, what are you, stupid? You don't know how to use really, I'm not stupid, man. I just ain't never done this before. So I was paying for cash with everything. And then I started practicing at like a little store. When no one was in there, I'd slide it in there. And I started getting better at it. There's been times where I tried to get gas, brother, and I had to drive away because I put the card in backwards. So I didn't press the enter button. I just got mad and took the card out and just got in my car and drove away. Go get my wife to go get me gas. But you learn, man. So, you know, brothers that are just coming home, you learn, man. Don't be afraid to learn. And don't be afraid to ask. Like, if you don't know how to do something, ask. Learn. Make it a teachable moment instead of an embarrassing moment.
Okay. All right. And speaking of that PTSD, you know how, like in the prison, you know, it's your respect. You can't let anyone see you get disrespect or anything, or it's going to be like, you know, you're going to be prayed. So is your guard still up there? Like, how do you deal with that on the street? 'Cause, you know, people on the street would challenge you. And how do you not flip back to, you know, that mode?
Like I tell you, man, the biggest thing is appreciation, right? I appreciate my freedom. I mean, I've had a few incidents. I had a dude at Burger King. You know, he drove away from the window. My wife was driving, and then he forgot his fries, so he put his car in reverse. My wife's beeping, beep, 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 boom, he hit us. My wife was like, "What are you doing?" So he jumps out of the car. He didn't know I was in the car, right? He jumps out of the car. What the? And he starts like screaming at my wife, bro. So for real, man, that was one incident where I got out of the car, and I'm like, and now his tune changed. You know what I mean? And I'm an aggressive dude, bro. You know, I'm from New York. Chicago dudes are aggressive. I'm from New York. We're aggressive people, man. So I got aggressive immediately. Like, yo, that's how you talk to women, bro? You talking to my wife like that? And then he got mad. I'm like, they exchanged their little cards after everything calmed down, insurance cards. And then he drove away. But after he got a little bit away, he's like, take your ass back to the hood, you motherfucker. Drove away. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to do nothing to this dude. I want to be free. But, you know, if it was the wrong person, you just gave these people your address on your insurance card, bro, and you're talking like that. You know, the old people would have reacted differently. But when you appreciate your freedom, you're like, man, it ain't really worth it, is it? It's a small thing to a giant, man.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned some of the positive things you're doing. So what's on the future for you? You know, like what are some of your ultimate plans to what you'd like to do?
All right, man. My ultimate plans are, you know, I got a paralegal and prison consultant business called Freedom Fighters. And I told dudes when I left prison, man, I was going to be that voice for the voiceless. And I meant it. I came out here. I probably got over 100 people out of prison, brother. You know, it's all on my Facebook page. People could look and see. I've done some big cases. Russell Simmons' son, I did his 2255, got him back in court. He's in court now. The rapper Lil Baby, his real father, not the dude that passed away that people think is his dad. He had life plus 55 years. I've been working hard on his case, man. He's still in there. We're trying to get him out of prison. Got a bunch of people out, like I said. So just growing my paralegal business. I got the home improvement business, Infinity Home Improvements, where I'm from. You know, really try to expand that where it's a big outfit, where we're really hiring dudes, getting out of prison, putting them back to work, you know, for real money, man, where they're not out here breaking their back for $15 an hour. You're out here making real money so you can be a father, so you can be a real leader, a real father, and lead your family and stop that vicious cycle of poverty. Definitely want to grow that. And for real, brother, if I hit the lotto or something like that, man, I would get me. You ever see that show Pit Bulls and Parolees?
Yeah.
I love animals, bro, more than people, man. I would definitely put something like that together, man, and take care of, you know, dogs, man. I would rescue dogs, man. That's my dream, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. And like I said, I'm having two twin sons, so my future, I want to coach their little baseball teams, football teams, you know, do whatever. My father's, you know, my stepfather was a boxing promoter, you know, big guy in the boxing community, definitely had the kids boxing. just want to be a father, man, and a husband, and live my best life, brother.
That's what's up. Okay. Well, on that note, I guess we can close here. But before we go, I understand you have a book. Shout your book out.
Okay. So this is the book right here, right? Blood on the Razor Wire. Same thing as my channel. Listen, man, the book's a real book. I read a lot of books in prison where dudes were like in the feds. They wrote books. They were in low securities and maybe a FCI. This book's violent, but it's real. It's real. It's raw. And I promise people, man, just go on Amazon and read the first 3 chapters for free. I promise you'll like it. People read the book. They say, bro, I couldn't put it down. I read the book in 1 day. I'm like, damn, all right. It sold out on Amazon on the first day. So,
wow. Okay. And then what are the other methods people can contact you? Because I know you said you mentioned you got Facebook and
well, they can hit me up on my email, freedomfighterspc@gmail.com. They can tune in on the YouTube channel, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Just hit me up that way. Hit me up on Facebook, whatever, man. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. You can find me that way, and my email.
All right.
Right.
Well, man, Chad, I really thank you for taking time out your Saturday to come do this interview with me. YouTube, I hope you enjoy this. I hope you got something out of this because it was some real stuff. I wish you much success. I hope you continue what you're doing because it's definitely needed, because this prison industrial complex is just out of hand. So, I mean, I really appreciate what you're doing, brother, and I hope you keep it up.
I appreciate you too, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem, brother.